So hopefully now you've been working on your major scales and getting the up and down picking down. There's another scale, well, two scales really, but they have two different sounds, that is used a lot in guitar playing and blues playing and rock and roll playing, and that is, we'll start off with the pentatonic scale. Now the pentatonic scale, pent means 5, right? So the major scale is a 7-note scale. The pentatonic scale is a 5-note scale. Okay? Now already that kind of sounds a little different. That sounds a little countryish perhaps. Now yes, I am using some vibrato and I'm bending some notes, and we'll talk about those later. But that is it's a positive sound. It's kind of a country sound, or rockabilly, or lots of different styles there. Already Gone uses that. A lot of songs use that sound, like Leonard Skinner's Sweet Home Alabama. Okay, just the pentatonic scale following those 3 major chords, the D, the C, and the G. The other very close cousin to the pentatonic is the blues scale. Doesn't sound a lot like a pentatonic scale at first. So I was playing G pentatonic. Now if I played E blues, it's really kind of a minor sound. It's based around E, and there's a lot of things about the blues that deals with hammer-ons and pull-offs and bends and all sorts of cool stuff that you can learn how to do. Turn on some, make this a little bit louder, turn on some effects. But the pentatonic's got that killer sound. And they're really very similar scales. And both scales are 5-note scales, with a couple of additional notes thrown in every now and then. And the blues scale lays out kind of like a box. You might hear some people talk about a box pattern. And these are usually where you start getting your licks from. Licks being a small musical idea on the guitar that can usually be repeated over and over again, like so what happens is, for the beginning guitar player, you start to learn these basic blues licks. And then you start to string them together. And those are the fundamental building blocks of making a really good solo, a really good improvisation. It goes beyond that though, and you'll need to learn more about chord structure and develop your ear more about how to use these things in different places. And I think we've all heard guitar players that play really fast, but aren't really interesting to listen to. And then another guitar player can play a single note and it sounds awesome. But there are some guitar players that play really fast and do sound awesome. So we kind of want the best of both worlds. We want to understand exactly what we're playing and why. And so the pentatonic and the blues have a lot of things in common. But because remember how I talked about modes before, and how you can start a note on a particular note of the scale and end on that same note, and it creates its own kind of tonality, its own world, its own flavor, just by simply staying staying focused on its tonal center. The blues, if I can actually make the blues scale sound pentatonic if I want to. So a regular blues sound. Now I can start to make that pentatonic if I just center it more around the G and not the E. See, I'm thinking about the G instead of the darker sound. You may not be able to hear it now, but later on, as we go through and you'll be playing pentatonics and blues scales, you'll know which sound to use when. One is more of a major sound, one is more of a minor sound. Sometimes it takes some experimentation to figure out what exactly works someplace. So that's pentatonics. So here's the tools you got. You have your major scales, you have your pentatonic scales, you got your blues scales. The next thing, the next level to go up to is learning more about chord construction. Because when you learn more about chord construction, you can actually start to affect your phrasing and knowing what note to hit at what point. Now that sounds really hard to do, and yeah, it's not quite easy. Nothing really worth working for is really truly easy, but it's certainly within your grasp. You can learn how to do this, and you'll start to become more aware, rather than just a guitar player that wiggles her fingers. You'll have an idea of what chord you're on, and you can actually say, okay, look, I'm playing around here, but I want to end on this note here because I know that that's in the chord that I'm playing against. So you'll be able to start, in a way, learning to phrase. And learning to phrase is really a lifelong journey, because you'll start to experiment with what works against the chords that you're hearing and what doesn't. And this is what we're all playing around with. From the guys in the recording studios making the $1 million records to just you and I in a living room somewhere playing music. We're all trying to find that really cool sound that we really like and want to make part of our sound as musicians. So stay tuned.